2021, agents of 2030, keep moving, keep acting, keep inspiring. Previously, we wanted to say our best regards to Insinyur Dr. Haji Muhammad Taufik Budi Santoso on behalf of Mr. Ridwan Kamil, the Governor of West Java, Dr. Mangadarsi Tumorang as Director of Parayangan Catholic University, Dr. Budiana Gumulia as the Dean of Parayangan Catholic University Economics Faculty, Dr. Brigita Melianti as the Parayangan Catholic University Head of Management Department, Dr. Istiharini as the Head of Parayangan Catholic University Management Undergraduate Program, Mrs. Medila Anggita as the Head of MENEFESTO 2021, Agents of 2030, and all of the beloved audience of MENEFESTO 2021, Agents of 2030.
We would also like to express our gratitude towards our sponsor for today's event. There are Are Outdoor Gear, Move and Adventure, PT Yades Kogyo, PT Bintang Warna Mandiri, Export, CV Emak Spices, Tahu Bungkeng.
They are also from Happy Hampers, PT Adi Gunawahana, Nasi Bebek Serasa Bumbu Hitam, Seuntai, From To By Us, Bumbu Snack, CV Ragam Mulia Abadi, RR Aceri, Geng Simbok, PT Swepmi Anugrah Indonesia, and PT Delta Sistek Indonesia.
In today's event, we will complete several agendas, namely the opening ceremony, webinar towards 2030, Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center, webinar Embrace Humanity, Eliminate Poverty, webinar SDGs within company, the business showcases review, and other entertaining performances.
Now, before we begin the main events, we will sing the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya, and will be followed with the Parahyangan Catholic University hymn. All participants are expected to behave accordingly.
Indonesia
Okay, thank you. First, I will explain about today's event title. The name Agents of 2030 was inspired by the United Nations Development Program, also known as UNDP, where the Earth's sustainability has become an urgent matter. To realize our goals from the SDGs, awareness and action are needed from all of us, no matter our age, roles, positions, and experiences.
Agents of 2030 illustrate our hope as the Manifesto 2021 committee and young people who are the future nation successors to have a more significant contribution to the Earth's sustainability in the future.
Now, we will witness an opening video presented by Manifesto 2021, Agents of 2030.
Pada tahun 2015, Perserikatan Bangsa-Bangsa membentuk 17 goals atau yang dikenal dengan Sustainable Development Goals. Tujuan dibentuknya SDGs ini untuk menciptakan kesejahteraan manusia secara global dan menyelamatkan bumi untuk masa depan. Hal itu didukung oleh
Hai, gue Fai. Inilah jalan yang gue lewati setiap hari. Selalu ada hal-hal yang menjadi perhatian gue. Mulai dari cuaca yang semakin panas, jumlah kendaraan yang bertambah, dan ketimpangan sosial yang semakin terlihat. Beberapa orang masih bisa menikmati udara dingin di tengah cuaca panas. Sementara yang lain harus bekerja untuk bertahan hidup. Setelah gue sadari, semakin banyak orang yang menggunakan wadah tidak ramah lingkungan. Walaupun banyak pilihan lain, mengapa mereka masih menggunakan wadah tersebut? Yang terkena dampaknya pun tidak hanya masyarakat sekitar, tetapi lingkungan juga, baik daratan maupun perairan. Air sungai yang dulunya jernih menjadi kotor. Apakah di masa depan nanti akan ada seseorang yang bisa mengubah keadaan ini?
Dari banyaknya kejadian yang telah kamu alami selama ini, dunia perlu seseorang untuk bisa merubah kebiasaan masyarakat. Apakah kamu siap menjadi bagian dari Agent of 2030?
What a really impactful video, isn't that true, Vianney?
Yes, that's really, really cool. From that video, we can see how the Sustainable Development Goals have really become an urgent matter to be accomplished.
Yes, that's very true, Fiani. I really agree with you. As we can see nowadays, the environment has become worse day by day, and still, some people are not aware of that condition. That's why there are still a lot of missions that need to be accomplished by all of us. And together, we have gathered here as the agents of 2030 to fight for the Earth's sustainability. Don't you agree, Fiani?
Yes, of course, Rio. Together, we shall fight for the Earth's sustainability. Anyway, now that we have seen the opening video of Manifesto 2021, Agents of 2030, we will now open this event symbolically with welcome words that will be delivered from several figures.
But before we continue, we wanted to express our gratitude to our sponsor for today's event. They are from Astra Credit Companies, PT Alam Jaya, Danon, PT Indofood Sukses Makmur Tbk Divisi Bogasari, and Geng Singbo. Okay, so now we will start the opening speech. The first one will be start from Ms. Jesslyn Chandra as the Chief Executive of Manifesto 2021 Agents of 2030. To Ms. Jesslyn Chandra, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, MC Rio and Fiani. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jesslyn Chandra as the Chief Executive of the Manifesto 2021 event. First of all, I would like to thank God Almighty because for His blessing, this event was well organized so that today it can be started. Manifesto, which is an annual festival from the management major of Parahyangan Catholic University this year, has the theme Sustainable Development Goals, which is currently attracting worldwide attention. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are included in the agenda that will be held at the Manifesto 2021 event, starting from today until December 22nd. Our hope as the Manifesto 2021 committee is that through this event, we, the young generation of the nations of the stars, can work together to maintain the sustainability of the Earth in the future. Last but not least, I also thank you for the hard work of all my management batch 2020 friends, who are of course supported by all the supervisors, lecturers, speakers, partners from ALN, and partners from ILO, as well as all media partners and sponsors such as Danon, ARE, PT Alam Jaya, Astra Credit Company, PT Indofood Makmur Tbk Bogasari Division, Geng Simbok, and many others who were involved in this event. Welcome to the Manifesto 2021 event and enjoy the next 9 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jesslyn Chandra, for the outstanding speech. And welcome to Mr. Mangadar Sitomarang. Thank you for coming here. And now we will witness an opening speech from Mrs. Medila Anggita as the head of Manifesto 2021, Agents of 2030. To Mrs. Medila Anggita, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you, Rio and Vianney. Good morning to one and all gathered here. On these auspicious occasions, I would like to welcome you all for Manifesto 2021. For the first, I would like to welcome the respected Dr. Budiana Gomulya as the Dean of Faculty Economic Parahyangan Catholic University, Dr. Mangadar Situmorang as a Rector Parahyangan Catholic University, Ms. Tita Vasco from San Beda University, and Mr. Rafli from San Beda University. Manifesto is an event that organized by management students who take practice management courses, and also this event becoming platform to showing and introducing for new product co-created by business practice student. Manifesto has been held annually since 2008 with the goals of providing a forum for students to develop their creativity and soft skills, and as well as provide opportunity for students to apply management theory. And for this year, Manifesto will be held for 9 days, from today until 22nd December. And we take Sustainable Development Goals as a big theme, and with title Agents of 2030. And through the entire series of events, we hope we can raise awareness and action that SDG goals are our responsible, including young people, of course, by considering their roles, position, and experience. And we hope we can agree the positive impact on the earth sustainability in the futures. And last, we hope invite Indonesian and international people such as students, communities, and companies becoming the agent of change in order to realize the SDG in 2030. And for the last, I would like to thank you for ILO, ILN, and ATU for the collaborations. Thank you so much for our speakers and moderators, for all media partners, for all sponsor participants, and of course for our students who work hard already for this event. Thank you so much for your attention and good morning for you all.
Thank you, Mrs. Medila Anggita, for the amazing speech. Now, we will witness an opening speech from Dr. Budiana Gumulya as the Dean of Parahyangan Catholic University Economics Faculty. To Dr. Budiana Gumulya, the screen is yours.
Good morning to all of you. So I have not prepared for my greeting and speech in English. So I will tell you a little story about Manifesto in Bahasa Indonesia. Sorry. Salam sehat dan salam sejahtera bagi semua yang hadir pada kesempatan pagi hari ini di ruang virtual untuk mengikuti pembukaan Manifesto 2021. Kepada yang terhormat Bapak Rektor, Pak Mangadar Sitomorang, Rektor Universitas Katolik Parahyangan, kepada tamu tadi dari Sanbeda University, saya mungkin di sini disampaikan ada beberapa nama dari panitia. Maaf, mungkin kalau saya ini agak sulit untuk menyebutkan. Selamat datang, terima kasih atas kehadirannya. Dan kepada semua tamu undangan yang pada kesempatan ini menyediakan waktu yang sangat berharga untuk mengikuti pembukaan dan mendukung acara Manifesto 2021. Terima kasih, Fakultas Ekonomi sangat menghargai semua yang diberikan. Manifesto 2021 merupakan sebuah acara yang semakin besar. Tadi sudah disampaikan mungkin oleh Ibu Anggi bahwa Manifesto ini sudah berkembang sedemikian rupa sehingga kegiatan menjadi lebih besar, menjadi lebih bermanfaat tentunya harapannya. Berkaitan dengan perkembangan Manifesto, ini berawal dari tahun 2003 ketika pengembangan kurikulum kewirausahaan dilakukan. Mata kuliah kewirausahaan merupakan mata kuliah yang membutuhkan praktek, bukan hanya teori. Oleh karena itu, mulai dengan adanya mata kuliah kewirausahaan di tahun 2023 sudah digagas kegiatan praktek bisnis. Awalnya adalah praktek bisnis. Kemudian mata kuliah manajemen, praktek manajemen mengikuti kegiatan yang sifatnya praktek, mengadakan kegiatan yang bersifat praktek. Karena itu, selanjutnya menjadi acara yang diberi nama Manifesto yang sudah dilakukan sejak kurikulum 2008 rasanya ya. Jadi perkembangan Manifesto ini sudah cukup lama. Intinya saya ingin menyampaikan semangat kewirausahaan itu bukan hanya sekedar ide ya, bahwa memiliki ide kreatif, gagasan-gagasan yang baru, tetapi permasalahan yang lebih besar adalah melakukan eksekusinya secara sabar, secara tekun, secara terus-menerus. Dicari kekurangannya, lalu dikembangkan sedemikian rupa untuk adanya perbaikan dan kemajuan-kemajuan. Saya merasa selama ini hal tersebut sudah dilakukan oleh tim yang mengelola kegiatan, baik mulai dari dosen yang ada di kelas, yang memberi, yang mengajar di kelas, kemudian tim yang mengelola manifesto dari tahun ke tahun, dan banyak dukungan juga dari sponsor dan yang lainnya. Kegiatan ini tentunya masih tetap perlu kita kembangkan, perbaiki terus-menerus, supaya semakin besar dan semakin bermanfaat. Tujuan awal dari manifesto dilakukan adalah agar mahasiswa mempunyai kesempatan untuk mengekspos dirinya, menunjukkan kemampuannya melalui mata kuliah yang diikuti ini dengan benar-benar menunjukkan hasil, ya. Satu, mungkin yang pertama adalah dalam rangka ide bisnis, melakukan praktek bisnis. Yang kedua dalam rangka praktek manajemen. Tentu ini semua perlu upaya, perlu usaha, perlu kerja keras, bukan hanya sekedar melihat, tetapi benar-benar melakukan. Selamat atas hasil mungkin kerja saat ini untuk manifesto 2021 dengan tim dosennya, tim IO atau tim pendukung dosen yang membantu, serta mahasiswa semuanya yang ada di kelas yang sudah melakukan tugasnya sebaik-baiknya. Sehingga hari ini dan berapa hari kemudian kita selama manifesto berlangsung akan dapat menampilkan sebuah manifesto yang terbaik dari kalian. Di akhir kata, sekali lagi saya ingin menyampaikan terima kasih kepada semua dosen dan kaprodi manajemen yang secara khususnya mengelola kegiatan manifesto. Kemudian kepada para sponsor yang mendukung acara ini, serta kepada semua dosen yang lainnya yang pada mungkin merasa ada gangguan dari acara difahami dan tetap didukung acara ini serta didoakan supaya acara ini berjalan lancar dan sukses. Selamat pagi, terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Budi Nagomulya, for the amazing speech. Now we will witness an opening speech from Mr. Bangadari Situmorang as the Rector of Parahyangan Catholic University. To Mr. Bangadari Situmorang, the screen is yours.
Fiani and Rio, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Sampurasun. This is a very local greeting from Bandung, Indonesia. And especially I would like to say hello and a very good morning to our great friends from San Beda University, speakers and also all students, and to all other students who join our programs today. And of course, a very good morning and thank you to Ibu Dekan, the head of the Department of Management. Unfortunately, and we are very sorry that Ibu Isti is now has to have a rest for health reason. And thank you, Fernando, and all friends and committee members who organized this seminar. And thank you very much and very good morning to all our partners, sponsors who make these programs run today. It is with a great pleasure for me to welcome you all for these great events Manifesto 2021 with the title The Agent of 2030. Is it correct? And in the midst of COVID-19, we experience such kind of difficulties. Not easy for us to move from one place to another. Our mobility is very limited and restricted. But thanks to technological development, that through this kind of, let's say, online or virtual meeting, we can greet each other. We can say hello to each other, and still we can learn from each other in a very digital ways. And now we are about to entering the season, the greeting season, Christmas and New Year. It is just very close. And some friends, especially in the Philippines, the celebration is already running. Yeah. And here in Indonesia, we also try to get involved in such kind of, let's say, great celebration of Christmas and New Year. But it is with a great, again, appreciation to all students. In the midst of, let's say, COVID-19 and the kind of, let's say, festival or festive of Christmas and New Year, you still working hard in this kind of, let's say, academic or intellectual exercises to run this kind of, let's say, webinar. So thank you to all students who organize this event, and thank you to all speakers who want to share with us their expertise, their knowledge, their experience, and their concern. Thank you to all students who take part, who spend their time, again, apart from the kind of, let's say, difficulties, and also the kind of, let's say, the greeting season, but you still spare your time to take part in this important, very prestigious event, Manifesto 2021. And this is the sign for all of us, whether the situation is in difficulties or it is already a kind of, let's say, celebration, we all have to be alert, to be aware, to get prepared, and to keep moving, keep acting, and keep inspiring. So thank you very much again to the whole parties who make this event run today and in the following weeks. Yeah, it will run for 10 days. So stay strong, yeah, stay happy and full of joy. So thank you very much to all, and have the very best webinar today and the following days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mangadar Situmorang, for the amazing speech. Now we will witness a keynote speech from the Regional Assistant of Economics and Development Affairs, Insinyur Dr. Haji Muhammad Taufik Budi Santoso. To Mr. Muhammad Taufik, the screen is yours.
Okay. Good morning. Thank you very much, Rio and Yani, Honorable Bapak Mangadar Situmorang, Rector of Parahyangan Catholic University, and Honorable Ibu Budiana, Dean of Management Faculty, and also the speakers. First, Ibu or Madam Tita Evasco Branzuela from Sambela University, and all the students, the participant of this very greeting occasion. Yeah, and good morning, Sampurasun, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I would like to mention that Mr. Governor, Bapak Ridwan Kamil, asked me to attend this seminars, and hopefully from his information that I will give the presentation to you, to all of you, can get the information about what West Java government done already, and what the government of West Java will do for the next future in terms of sustainable development goals, like the Bapak Rio and Vianney mentioned before. So let me have some permission for sharing the presentation. Yeah. Yes. The theme of the presentation is, we call it collaboration towards sustainable regional development. So maybe all of you already know about the purpose of Sustainable Development Goals. We can see that, we can see that the agenda of SDGs is in 2030. Agenda for Sustainable Development is at least consists of 17 goals and 169 in 2016 until 2030. So a global sustainable development agreement based on human rights and equality is for socio economic and also environmental development. So the principle of SDGs, like we already know, is universal, integrated, and inclusive. The special term that we know also is no one left behind. So it's mean all of the community should be participate in SDG implementation. So the commitment is eliminate poverty, eliminate hunger, improve health quality, improve education, and also reduce inequality. So I think this all the SDGs is already regulated in Indonesia under the presidential decrees number 59 2015 2017, I'm sorry. So this Perpres or Peraturan Presiden or presidential decree is a form of commitment, so that implementation and achievement of SDGs is carried out in a participatory manner by involving all stakeholders. And for the regional government, because in Indonesia, we have central government, we have provincial government, and also municipal government. So we also have to implement this presidential decree. So provide policy, regulatory, budget, and program and activity support, mapping and integration, the national goals and target, and also indicator into our medium-term plan, and also long-term plan, and also annual plan. And then the capacity building of local government and stakeholders in the implementation of SDG, and then dissemination, communication, and advocacy to the whole community, and the end is preparation of data and information. So this is the, I think all the students already know about it, but maybe this is, I would like to give some figure about the recent condition in Indonesia and also in West Java. So Indonesia, right now, the population is almost 272 million inhabitants. It consists of 34 provinces, 416 regency, and 98 city or municipality. So if we see in the picture in the right hand, we can see that Jawa Barat or West Java is the most populous province in Indonesia. So if we see more detail about West Java, the population is around more than 48.7 million, or 17.86% from the total Indonesian population. If we compare the number of population to other countries, so it similar with the countries. West Java is the similar in number of population with Korea, and more than Saudi Arabia, and more than Malaysia, and more than Australia. So the challenges of West Java government is similar in terms of population with these countries. So the area is around 35 million kilometers square, and then the cities is 9, and then the regency is 18. So the West Java contribution to Indonesia, we are the third highest contribution to Indonesia GDPs, is more than 13%, and then the highest export region in Indonesia. And also we are the first investment destination, whether this is from internal Indonesia or from abroad investors. Right now, West Java is still the first in terms of investment destination, and also the highest manufacturing sector in Indonesia. More than 24% of industrial in Indonesia is located in West Java province. So our vision is West Java as the center of excellence through innovation and collaboration. The term of innovation and collaboration can be divided into 5 stakeholders that very important for the success of development of West Java. So we call it the pentahelix, ABCGM, the abbreviation of academic, business, community, government, and media. So all of you, Honorable Mr. Rector and Ms. Dean, and all of the students is part of the stakeholder, very important stakeholders for the contribution to the development of West Java. So we know that right now we are still coping the COVID-19. West Java dealing with prevention, test and trace track, improvement of health facilities, and also vaccination. So we're doing this program and strategy for coping the COVID-19. And thank God that right now, Indonesia and also all the provinces in Indonesia, included West Java, right now the COVID is manageable and going slow down. And hopefully, because we have challenges time right now, we have vacation for Christmas and also for New Year's. Hopefully, it's not get the impact for raising the number of COVID-19 in Indonesia, especially in West Java. So we are doing the proactive activities and then transparent through giving the information based on information technology. And also all the activity, all the policy is under scientific analysis. And then we are doing the innovative for coping the COVID-19. And at last is collaborative. So we are gathering all the participants, all the stakeholders for doing and managing the COVID-19. So this is the one of the important aspect in terms of transparency and also implementing the technology, information technology, digitalization. So we are develop the system, the apps system. We call it Picobar. Picobar is center information and coordination for COVID-19 in West Java. So we have 32 features and is dealing with emergency, and then for social benefit, and then for hotline in terms of COVID-19, and also include the availability of hospital, and then the oxygen and others. So right now the technology innovation that from Picobar is installed through apps is more than 1 million people install the Picobar apps. And right now we are doing the version 2.42, and then this already socialized and used by the people of West Java. And yes, it's supported by Jabar Digital Services. This institution is developed by West Java, inviting the young people to doing the technology information. These are the members of this team is coming from the graduated university in West Java, and they are in millennial or young people participation. So the economic recovery, I would like to mention that the West Java strategy consists of 3 strategies. One is rescue, and then the second is recovery, and then the third normalization. For the rescue, focusing on workforce in every business, because the business are going down and slowing down, and it get impact for unemployment and also the rising of poverty. So we are rescuing the people in this year, last year and this year, and we'll do the recovery and normalization next year and until 2023. So this is the way that we do for the people who get the impact from COVID-19, especially the people who need assistance, need food, and then need other things that are related with the life of the people. So we are doing the social assistance and then distributing for the people who need the food and others for the people itself. So for the investment, for the economic matters, right now the West Java economics improve and it's going positive, and we hope we still optimist that next year or the end of the year and then next year we're doing better rather than 2020 and 2021. And West Java condition, we are still, right, I mentioned before that infestation in West Java is still #1, and it solved more than 58,000 workers, and then it's contribute especially for the GDP of of West Java. So this is the 7 opportunities in terms of economic in West Java. So investment destination, national self-dependency, especially in food security and the healthcare. We have Kimia Pharma, Biopharma, who produce the vaccine and also the equipment for healthcare. And then the 4th one is automotive manufacturing, and then digital innovation, and then sustainability, and then tourism is the 7th opportunities of economic development in West Java. So the recent regulation that Mr. President Bapak Joko Widodo also have strong arrangement for West Java development by producing the Presidential Decree number 87, 2021, who concerning the acceleration of development of Rebana area. So Rebana area is in the northern part of West Java. It consists of 7 municipalities and agencies. And this place is the new growth pole of West Java in the next future until 2030. And also the other presidential decree is related with acceleration of development, especially in agriculture and tourism in the southern part of West Java. So I think I would like to proceed to what are the development in Rebana. So the Rebana is in this area, maybe all the students already know, Indramayu, Subang, Sumedang, Majalengka, and Cirebon. So we have this call it with golden triangle because we have Patimban in number 13 is the new port in West Java, and we have also the new airport in number 5 in Kertajati, and then the existing port in Cirebon in number 7. So it will be 43.9 thousand hectares of new cities, new sustainable cities, because the concept of our development is life and then play and leisure. So all the city should be sustainable, doing the sustainable development concept. So this is the projection of the Rebana. So it can be generate more than 7.16% economic growth until the end of 2030. So this is the area of the new cities that already under planning and under development right now. So we have Kertajati Aero City is in surrounding of West Java new airport in Kertajati. And then this is the new harbor, a new port in the Patimban area. So it's already operated. And then this is the southern part of West Java development of agribusiness. And then this is development of marine and fishery by applying the information technology, and then development of tourism in Pangandaran and in Sukabumi, some of the special object of tourism in West Java. So how is the future? So the future we are concerning for new renewable energy. So Mr. Governor already used the electric car for his operation, daily operation. And right now in Karawang is under development the battery for electric vehicle. So it will be one of the most important industry in West Java for producing the battery, lithium battery for renewable energy. So this is the sample of the battery, the example of the battery in lithium. The lithium is coming from other province, especially in Sulawesi and Maluku, and industry in Kerawang to produce the battery. So the second one is for the renewable energy is we are doing also the green energy project by solar panel in industrial sectors, and we are preparing in high SMR, or we call it high school. We will also applying the rooftop energy for solar project in 173 school in West Java. So this is the green energy also applying in Cirata Dam. So we have so many dam in West Java. We have Jatiluhur, we have Cirata, we have Saguling. All the energy coming from water. So it's not only coming from water. Right now we are doing the solar panel in Cirata Dam. So we are doing this one. This is the national project located in West Java. So the third one is related with solid waste. So solid waste, we are preparing also the waste to energy. So the waste is will produce the energy for electricity, for RDF, changing the electric from natural resources. So we have more than 2 locations in West Java, and right now we are trying to develop new waste to energy in other area, but it's based on regional. It's more the scope of the facility is not only one municipal, but it's more than one in one region. And then this is the high-speed railway that will reduce the consumption of from the car, change to the train. So we are right now is in finalization of the development, and hopefully in November 2022, this high-speed railway will be operated. So yes, we are keen to mention that West Java have infrastructure readiness, and then the productivity of human resources, and then we are getting reducing the permit processing, so it can be very simple and very fast, and hopefully it can increase also the investment in West Java. So the climate change, yes, we are doing also the emission reduction, and like you know maybe about Citarum, we are doing with military and also with police to introduce the cleanest river in West Java. Previously, it is the worst river in West Java, because this river not only used by West Java but also used by DKI Jakarta to be water for the people. So yes, this is the reduction in West Java. We are doing the management of waste based on information technology, and then this is the waste to energy that we are doing right now. Hopefully this year this waste to energy can be operated. And then this is agricultural sectors by using organic fertilizer, and then this is for mangrove in the coastal area. Hopefully this can protect the environmental in this coastal area. So that's what I want to mention on behalf of my governors, Mr. Ridwan Kamil. And thank you very much for your attention, and hopefully from this seminar can produce the initial project or initial activity that will be benefit for the community, especially for community in Indonesia and also for West Java. So thank you for your attention, and terima kasih. Selamat pagi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Time to Mr. Rio and Piano.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Muhammad Taufik, for the keynote speech and the presentation. We really appreciate your time and dedication for attending this event. So hopefully all of the message that has been delivered through this speech could be realized through this event. Now, shall we continue to our next agenda, Fiani?
Sure, Rio. So for the next session, we will have the first webinar for today's event, which is webinar towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center.
So you can join the webinar by accessing the meeting link that has been sent through all of the registered participants' email. And if you haven't registered yet, you can watch the webinar by accessing the MENEFESTO.online website. I repeat again, you can join the webinar by accessing the meeting link that has been sent through all of the registered participants' email. And if you haven't registered yet, you can watch the webinar by accessing the MENEFESTO.online website. So now, without further ado, we will now start the first webinar in today's event. So all of the audience, please enjoy the webinar.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Manifesto 2021. My name is Azmi Dwi Permatasari, and I'm here with my partner,
Prema Parameswara.
as the master of as behalf of Manifesto 2021 Agents of 2030. We are very pleased to welcome all of you on today's webinar towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center.
Before we proceed, we would like to express our gratitude to Dr. Brigita Melianti Sumbudi as the moderator on today's webinar, Director of Paranan Catholic University, Dr. Mangader Situmorang, the ALN Executive Director from San Beda University, Professor Dr. Vita Evasco Brenzo.
The Technical Officer for Skills Development ILO Country Office for Indonesia in Timor-Leste, Mr. Taufik Muhammad as the speakers, and all the respectable audiences of today's webinar. Now, Prema, I would like to recount a little bit about towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center.
Of course, go ahead, Asmi.
Okay, so this webinar is inspired by the overall SDGs, namely the welfare and the safety of humans and planet Earth. This webinar aims to increase public awareness of the SDGs values and provide opportunities for various organizations to exchange ideas while providing insight to the community about the importance of SDGs realizations. And through this webinar, we hope that all organizations can embrace one another and work together to achieve the 17 goals of SDGs.
That is really right. We hope that through this, we can achieve the goals together. Now, please allow me to read today's webinar regulation. Participants are expected to use the name format institution_full name. For example, Unpar_Michael Smith. Participants are expected to mute the microphone during the webinar until further information from the committee or MC. Participants are expected to maintain a conducive situation during the webinar. Participants are prohibited from showing, consuming drugs, alcohol, and inappropriate action. Host will remove those who cause disturbance.
5. Participants are able to ask questions during the question and answer sessions through the chat features, and participants who want to ask questions must type in the chat column with the following format: full name, questions. For example, Michael, what is meant by, etc. Furthermore, you can ask directly after being invited by the MC while minding your language. To receive certificate, participants must fill the evaluation form, and last, naming errors on the certificate are not the responsibility of the committee.
That's all the rules for all the participants. Now we will invite our moderator, Dr. Brigita Meliantisu.
Dr. Brigita Melianti Sulungbudi is the head of Management Science Department in Parahyangan Catholic University Indonesia, the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs, and Head of Postgraduate Studies in the Faculty of Economics Parahyangan Catholic University, PhD in Management, Operations, and Marketing from the University of Wollongong, Australia, and Certified International Project Management and Accredited Supply Analyst.
For Dr. Brigita Melianti, the time is yours.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. What a beautiful day. My name is Melianti Sulungbudi. You can call me Mel. Welcome to the webinar of MENEFESTO 2021 with the theme Agent of 2030. Today's webinar discusses Toward 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center. It is a great honor for me to introduce our fabulous speakers today. Here I am with three distinguished speakers. The first speaker is our beloved rector of Universitas Katolik Parahyangan from 2015 to the present, Dr. Mangadar Situmorang. Apart from being Unpar's rector, Dr. Situmorang involved in several organizations, such as Asosiasi Ilmu Hubungan Internasional, the Community of East Asia Scholars, and the Academic Forum for Peaceful Papua. He got his PhD from the Curtin University of Technology. Good morning, Pak. Our second speaker is Professor Tita Evasco Branzuela, the Executive Director of the Asian Learning Network and the Vice President for International Relations and Affairs of the University of San Beda, the Philippines, from 2016 to the present. Professor Tita got her PhD from the La Salle University. Greetings, Professor. The third speaker is Mr. Taufik Muhammad, the Technical Officer for Employment and Skills Development, ILO Country Officer for Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Mr. Muhammad has been working with the International Labour Organization for more than 8 years in several countries. We call it Malang Melintang in ILO. In addition to 7 years experience in trade union leadership and movement in Indonesia, and 11 years of career in the private sector of International Banking Corporation. Welcome back to Unpar, Pak. You were invited to our event several times, if I'm not mistaken.
Thanks for having me and good again.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, each speaker will discuss their topic for 20 minutes each, For all participants, should you have any questions regarding the topic, please type your question on the chat box located in the bottom part of your windows. With the following format: your name, dash, your question, dash, the speaker expected to answer. Yeah, your name, dash, your question, dash, the speaker expected to answer. Please keep the question short and effective. We will have a little talk show after all the speakers share their ideas, and after that, we will have a question and answer session. All right, without any further ado, Dr. Mangadar Situmorang, the time is yours.
Thank you very much, Mel. Thank you. Very good morning. And very happy to meet again with Professor Tita. Yeah, good morning, Ibu Tita.
Same here.
Thank you very much for joining our program today, and by also inviting or asking Sanbeda students to our programs. Ibu Tita is my colleague as the vice chairperson with ILN.
Yeah.
And we have already met for several times, but we miss to meet, of course, in the kind of, let's say, physical or on-site meeting. For
maybe next year, Pak.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's hope.
Very expected. Yeah, thank you very much, Mel. So, Prof. Tita, we may see next year.
Yes.
To meet each other.
Yes,
in a more, physical or in a live meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And Pak Taufik, thank you very much for joining also. And I would like to make a kind of, let's say, disclaimer. Yeah.
What is it?
The first one is the thing that I'm going to share with you is not an academic. Yeah, it's not an academic presentation. Yeah, it is not an intellectual discourse. Yeah. And of course, it is not a research-based. Yeah, it's not a research-based discussion. So, apology, Prof. Tita and Prof. Pak Taufik. Yeah, that the one I'm going to share with is just a kind of, let's say, personal concern, and it is absolutely our common concern, our common interest when we talk about social, economic environment. Yeah, through many events, we talk all about our humanity, our planet Earth as the common home. Yeah, through the kind of, so we call it as Laudato Si. So in this event, we talk about SDGs. Yeah. So again, it is not an academic writing. It is not an academic presentation, Ibu Mel and dear students. Yeah. That one I'm going to share with is just a kind of, let's say, common knowledge or personal concern that we share with each other. Yeah. And the second one, I have to say also, sorry, yeah, apology, ask pardon to the committee, because the question raised are not directly answered through this presentation. Yeah, I was given a set of questions, yeah, very clear questions, yeah, but again, I'm so sorry that the question is not directly or strictly answered. Okay, this is the second one. Apart from that one, I would like also to say thank you very much to the committee, the organizer. Yeah, you give me time to escape for a while. Yeah, yeah, Prof. Tita, you know it very well. Yeah, from the kind of, let's say, daily administrative job. Yeah, managerial activities. Yeah, so this is a very praised, a very highly appreciated again chance. Yeah, given the time for me to, for a while, yeah, at least in 1 hour or two, yeah, from the kind of activities. And I would like to say thank you very much, because this time also time for me to listen and to learn from other speaker experts on the issue of SDGs. Yeah, Professor Tita, and especially Pak Taufik, yeah, that already mentioned by Mel, yeah, the very expert one on the issue of, let's say, SDGs, and especially in relation to the kind of, let's say, workforce or human and labor activities. Yeah, so we thank you very much for this event. Yeah. Having said that, this kind of, let's say, disclaimer, so my presentation is like this one of the flow is just again for me to realize the things related to the Sustainable Development Goals as the agenda of the World Development Goals. Yeah, that it starts from the kind of, let's say, global concerns, yeah, keprihatinan, yeah, the global difficulties, yeah, in relation to the kind of, let's say, poverty, hunger, yeah, health, yeah, disease, water, technology, environment, and so on. As the student of international studies, yeah, we used to say that the world is just about war and peace. Yeah, and in relation to that kind of things, we call the idea of, let's say, non-traditional security issues, or we now use more common about the kind of, let's say, human security. It is not longer the issue of state security, but we talk more or much more about human security. So this is the idea based or within the kind of, let's say, Sustainable Development Goals. For all of us to get involved in the kind of, let's say, goals or objective for all human beings to live in a better life, yeah, secure and in peace. So from that kind of, let's say, global concern, I come to the kind of, let's say, that it is already translated or converted to the kind of, let's say, global commitment or policies. And then it was then adopted to the national level, yeah, through the kind of, let's say, plans, policies, and programs. And moved down to the kind of, let's say, or to the side when you talk about that SDGs is also related to the kind of, let's say, intellectual debates, yeah, intellectual or academic discourses. But of course, we also think that it is not ended in the kind of, let's say, field. We have to move forward, yeah, and we talk about, let's say, the real activities in the terms of how to manifest, to make these SDGs policies and program into real effect. So the realization, the manifestation or implementation of SDGs is rightly very significant with the kind of, let's say, result or impact, yeah, experience or enjoyed by human beings or our society. And the last point that I'm going to share with is about the words when we talk about learning center. We talk about our institution that might be the right one, or one of the agent, one of the player that should take part, should take responsibility also in the implementation of the SDGs. Prof. Tita, Pak Taufik, Mel, and all dear students, yeah, we know it's very clear, yeah, that the SDGs emerge from the kind of, let's say, a very deep problem or severe condition we experience in our world. So the world is already marked by many kind of, let's say, problem, as already mentioned before, including about the economic aspect, yeah, such as, let's say, poverty, yeah, hunger, yeah, discrimination to some extent, bias in our social structure and community, and also to the issue of, let's say, technology and environment. So we see that kind of, let's say, SDGs is more comprehensive, yeah, compared to the one related to what we call it as MDGs, or Millennium Development Goals, yeah. So prior to SDGs, yeah, the world has already Millennial Development Goals with 8 priorities or 8 issues raised, yeah, from poverty to all kind of, let's say, the need for global partnership. But through that kind of, let's say, international discussion, dialogue, negotiation, or forum, yeah, we would come to the new ideas of making or ensuring the kind of, let's say, all development endeavors to be sustained. And that's one formulated in the idea or the programs or policies we call as SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So we see this one is very much comprehensive. And the other point is that all dimensions of Sustainable Development Goals are interconnected, yeah, very closely, yeah, influence each other and give the some sense of, let's say, cause and effect relationship. When you talk about poverty, yeah, it is not just about economic, it is not just about social status. Very much it is also related to the kind of, let's say, politics, including that we see about, let's say, armed conflict. Poverty and hunger, again, is not just about economic issues, yeah, and in many cases we see this as caused by armed conflict or ill policies and politics in many different parts of the world, yeah. And also in the point of, let's say, when you talk about the environment, yeah, all these kind of issues related to the environment have positive and negative impact to the way we can meet our economic and social needs. The same things when you talk about social issues, yeah. The issue related to inequality, the issue related to discrimination, alienation, or marginalization are also related to the way we manage our society. The social structure is also responsible to the kind of, let's say, hunger, poverty, and all kind of, let's say, health impacts. So that's the point that we are dealing with. So it's already translated or converted, declared in the General Assembly resolution, yeah, and make it a kind of, let's say, global or international deal, international agreement, yeah, that the whole countries, yeah, in the world have to share such kind of, let's say, commitment and responsibility, to bring these SDGs as a global agreement, yeah, to be implemented, to be brought into effect in their own country and society. And it should be followed by the kind of, let's say, commitment. Pak Taufik from the West Java Gubernatorial Office, on behalf of our governor, already presented, how these SDGs, adopted or integratified, if you call it, integrated to our national policies, and it has already been the kind of, let's say, our national and also regional commitment, followed by the kind of, let's say, other requirement in terms of budgeting, in terms of institution, organization, and regulation, or sometimes we call also related to the SDGs governance. It is not just about the kind of policies, it should be also followed by the kind of, let's say, governance or tata kelola, we call it, in the implementation of, let's say, SDGs. And another point is that SDGs is a collaborative endeavors. It is a collective activities. It is not just the global governments. It is not just about the national programs. It is society and institution. It's already applied, and also it is part of our intellectual discourse. We, as a, I am more interested in the kind of, let's say, intellectual exercises.
Dr. Mangadar. Oops. Welcome back, Pak Mangadar. Maybe you can unmute your
done.
mic.
Okay, can you listen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So from our point of view as higher education institution, we pay attention also to the kind of, let's say, the feasibility, the eligibility, the validity of this kind of policies and implementation through intellectual point of view. And we in UNPAR also address this issue through, again, academic forum, like the one you do in accounting department. The other point is that it is already tried to be implemented, in a more practical ways, by involving, by engaging communities and regional administration, including to the very remote or very villages level. And we see the kind of, let's say, impact in the positive ways, results, through the implementation of SDGs. And we see a number of or several cities or municipalities, the one mentioned by Taufik from the gubernatorial office, talk about the kind of things implemented in West Java. We see the same things also implemented in other regions or regencies. And also adopted, integrated, or incorporated in many kind of, let's say, regional administration or development program. Now we come to the last point of my presentation. If I'm not mistaken, that it is the idea, that is a kind of, let's say, aspiration for UNPAR also to take part in the implementation of SDGs based on our resources, based on our competencies or capabilities, especially when we talk about academic or intellectual point of view. So we do want to see that UNPAR also would run a set of activities in the sense of how to bring SDGs implemented in our societies through research and that kind of things. We call it as community services. Yeah. And then of course, including also the kind of, let's say, forum by organizing seminar, conference, or through that kind of, let's say, class processes, yeah, through teaching and other kind of discussion. Yeah, we try to do this again by institutional ways, yeah, in terms of, again, under the universities, or more specific one under the faculties and the department, or through also the students' organization, student activities, student groups, learning groups, and so on. So come to the last point, as kind of, let's say, this is more a very common general one, yeah, to conclude my presentation. Yeah, we support the idea of SDGs for all of us living in the world, yeah, to have a better life in future. Yeah, it's already mentioned that we have a decade to go, just 10 years to go. Yeah, so it has been said that it should be a supreme years of activism. We need a kind of, let's say, acceleration. We need to speed up our activities to implement, yeah, SDGs. Yeah, and at our national level, yeah, we have to work more. Yeah, we need to collaborate. Yeah, and make it as a kind of, let's say, concerted activities, not only from the government point of view, but also has to include, to involve the business sectors and also the society. And in UNPAR, yeah, we already initiated some kind of, let's say, activities for SDGs to be more applicable. And later, we expect that kind of, let's say, significant impact to the society. And probably, yeah, this is the last reminder for us, or invitation or encouragement, that our university would be a kind of, let's say, learning center for us in the implementation of SDGs. And we all, students, yeah, and also academic staff, yeah, to be the agents of 2030 through any kind of, let's say, partnership and collaborative spirit. That's all, Mel, Prof. Tita, and Pak Taufik from me. And dear students, thank you very much for listening to my presentation. Back to you, Mel.
Thank you for your amazing discussion. So next we are going to Professor Tita. The time is yours.
Okay. So greetings to all. Respected UNPAR Rector Sitimarang, also the Vice Chair of the Asian Learning Network, and to the Deputy Executive Director, Mr. Fernando Mulia, UNPAR administrators, lecturers, staff, students, honorable speakers, participants, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Had there not been this global pandemic, I should be with you, not virtually, but in person, right there at UNPAR. It could have made my fourth or fifth visit to Bandung. Anyway, so So let me in advance express my appreciation to the Dean, to the heads of the management undergraduate program, for all the student organizers for this MENEFESTO 2021, the Management Festival on its third year, for this event, Agents of 2013, most appropriate for the webinar theme towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center. It's been quite a joy to have heard from the previous speakers on things about SDGs in regional development, and then in particular, what are the different practices from the regional level, for example, sharing at the same time the national. But there is this urgent call, as our rector more or less stressed initially, that with just a matter of 10 years, less than 10 years to go, there is this need for Agents of 2030. Urgent response is needed to this global call for development catalysts, especially from the education sector and from the different networks that we are in, focusing on educating the youth. So then, oh, this problem with my transit. It's a problem with my. May I ask my staff, Mr. Rafi Kines, to assist?
Yes, Dr. Tita. Let
But
me
anyway,
share.
here. Okay, it's
Okay.
here. So we have the global risk and challenges in my agenda. Partly those were presented by our beloved rector, and partly I'm going to mention the SDGs as the roadmap for a sustainable world. I'm going to mention a bit about the pillars, dimensions, and principles which would be guiding us in terms of being LC. Could be the Asian Learning Network, or could be UNPAR, or could be Sanbeda at that particular context or priorities. So next will be the perspectives, approaches, and practices for the SDGs. It could be viewed at different levels. It could be from the government or global level, to the national, to the local government, to the institutions, especially academic institutions, and down to the last I, the individual, you and me as persons in this particular world at this time. So there could be innovations from the government, from the academe, from the industry or businesses, and at the same time from the NGOs or local organizations. So then responding to the global call to be SDGs Learning Center. So will the Asian Learning Network be one of the LCs? Will UNPAR be one? Or will Sanbeda be one among the other universities and among other sectors really trying to cooperate and collaborate to really respond to this global call? Or basically, would it mean to say that the main global call is on the I, on the individual? Okay then, so the global risks reported during the UN General Assembly prior the pandemic in 2020, they cited the global risks and challenges, and these are geopolitical tensions, climate crisis, global mistrust, and the downsides of technology. With the pandemic, they added the health crisis, socioeconomic inequality, education, and gender crisis. While the United Nations has been reporting a lot about the progress of the SDGs, we have the World Economic Forum mentioning about the evolving risk landscape. They shared more or less from 2017 to 2021 in a 5-year period. What are the evolving risks that the world will be experiencing? So we have here extreme weather in green, climate action failure, natural disasters, human-made disasters, environmental disasters, human environmental damage, biodiversity loss, involuntary migration, infectious diseases, cyber attacks, data fraud and theft, digital power concentration, digital inequality, and terrorist attacks. So those were considered as evolving risks from 2017 to 2021 as reported. So the SDGs as a roadmap. So notably, it has been stressed and written and claimed and accepted by everyone that the SDGs is the roadmap for a sustainable world. So what are the dimensions or the scope? As of recent, they added to the original dimension or scope or pillar from the original declaration of people, prosperity, and planet because they have noted additional dimensions, in particular, partnership and peace. So the 5 pillars of sustainable development goals would likewise be viewed with specific perspectives and corresponding goals. For example, we have mentioned the 5 pillars or the scopes or the dimensions. We have people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. If we're going to look at people as a dimension or as a pillar, as mentioned by Rector Mangadar, there is a need to see it as interlinked or interconnected with the other goals. So out of the 5 or dimensions that we noted, for example, if we're going to look at the people pillar, we need to look at its link and connectedness with SDGs 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the same as for all the rest. For example, for prosperity, we need to look at SDGs 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So definitely it's going to be a holistic perspective from the global to the local and to the individual at the same time. So the Sustainable Development Goals or the SDGs aim to achieve and oftenly repeated initially even by our MCs and moderators and previous speakers to achieve social inclusion, economic prosperity, environmental protection, and sustainability. This has been included in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which was launched in September 2015 by the 193 UN member states, and included were the 17 goals, which we have been discussing, 169 targets, and 230 indicators. And those were presented to be the most urgent needs of the world, with the challenge of being a learning center at different levels. Therefore, we need not just look at the 17 goals, but we likewise need to look at the different targets and indicators affecting its goal in terms of what will be the general effect in the totality of our effort to respond to the global call. So what are the core principles? Likewise, I heard this term mentioned earlier. So the core principles in the SDGs are the following: universality, leaving no one behind. This has been considered a very good framework for this SDG program implementation. Then we have interconnectedness and indivisibility. We have inclusiveness, multi-sector partnerships or collaboration. So definitions of sustainability and sustainable development taken from the UN reports and UN publications. So sustainability is a paradigm for thinking about the future which environmental, societal, and economic considerations are balanced in the pursuit of an improved quality of life. Main focus is the intergenerational ethics, which consists of us being at the present, doing things that would not diminish the opportunities of future persons to enjoy similar levels of wealth, utility, or welfare. Is that a matter of us saying, oh, anyway, I might be dead by 2030, so I don't care. So it's not that particular kind of perspective or that kind of feeling. We should have this empathy of caring for others, not only for our world. So sustainable development has been defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Let us be here and now, be present, but we look forward to what will happen to the future generations of humanity. So the perspectives and goals, approaches, and practices for a shared future. This has been part of the 2030 agenda. Take note, it's in paragraph 53. The future of humanity and of our planet lies in our hands. In our hands. It lies also in the hands of today's younger generation. Most of you are in the younger generation. Majority, actually, for the participants. You are the younger generation who will pass the torch to future generations. So the challenge, therefore, is to know the goals, not only for 2030, actually, but beyond. So the Global Festival of Action in response to the global call. So we have a lot of global concerns, considerations. This include innovation approaches, citizen engagement, communication about the SDGs, mobilization of the action, and multi-stakeholder or sectoral engagement. So the perspectives then can be looked at the following levels. Could be from the global perspective, from the national, the different governments, the local government, the local units, the institutional, and the individual. And then at the same time, having these perspectives, we need to see what are the general approaches. Simply put, it could be from the top down, or it could be from the bottom up. For example, on the level or in perspective of an academic institution, it could be coming up from the top, or it could be coming from the bottom as initiated by students, for example. So we have now been approaching sustainability and sustainable development. So 2020s has been declared as the decade of action, and 2020 the year of urgent response. So annual SDG Action Forum has been agreed by the United Nations to be starting last September 20 with focus with this global call for collaboration and partnership. Because without global collaboration and partnership, what can we do? Individual countries, individual institutions, and individual persons. So again, explicitly or implicitly, the young people's knowledge are focused to be very essential if sustainable development is to be real. So the role of the young people, your reach, and your innovative solutions is quite important. So with the manifesto, it's an evidence of your initiative from the UNPAR University. So actually, aside from stressing on the youth, SDGs belong to each of us, even those in the older generations like me and the rest. And everything we do, small or little, impacts the achievement in totality. So this has been expressed by the UN Secretary General. So then it's not only the youth, but likewise, each one of us, each individual. So what are the noted university practices for the SDGs, which we can benchmark. So some universities, as reported by the UN Foundation and some World University reports, ventured into voluntary university SDG review. They call it VUR. So they considered the whole SDG agenda and the entire SDG 17 goals to be part of their examining their university on how they do progress in trying to contribute to the accomplishment of the SDGs. I think this is a very difficult challenge for universities, but this is a very good initiative. Then there is this multi-stakeholder effort, for example, for the Times Higher Education Impact Ranking of universities, wherein they are looking at how do universities impact their communities. Another is building a global network of universities or joining some active network of universities focusing on the SDGs. There are a number of global coalitions focusing on specific SDGs or focusing on the total SDG agenda for 2030, like the ALN, for example. I'm going to discuss that a bit later for our purposes. Then the community engagement dashboard. Some universities link with their local units, government units, and try to assist the local government units in terms of their activities towards the SDGs. And in particular, they make use of their academic, their research skills. And as also mentioned, which I noted by our rector, having it as part of their community service practices, which is very commendable. And that majority of the universities are doing it, the academics, research, and the community services, all in one to assist their partner communities. One very exciting part, likewise, is the mapping the course catalog to the SDGs. I heard the dean mentioning about the curriculum, and definitely I'm quite sure that most of the lecturers here present are including the SDGs in their specific subjects, specific courses. So definitely, as in the case of San Beda, if I may share, there are subjects, there are faculties, there are departments which identify what SDGs are they going to focus on, in particular, likewise, in relation with their student activities, whether with the professional organizations or whether with their volunteer organizations. So this one something very important that we can have a look at perhaps and benchmark later, especially with the ASEAN Learning Network, on how are we doing in relation with contributing or responding to the call for the SDGs. The last one, in general, is organizing peers around the SDGs. So as I've mentioned, organizing peers, it could be among the students, it could be among the lecturers, or it could be among administrators. So organizing peers on a voluntary basis is one very important practice that other universities are doing. And notably, our students are doing this on their professional organizations and even in their personal organizations outside the institution. So other university practices to support the SDGs, we have localization, establishment of a learning teaching lab. Take note, we are talking about learning center. Others are calling it as learning teaching lab or learning teaching office or learning teaching hub. For San Beda, for example, we have our Office of Sustainability. For other members of the ALN, we noted that others have their Office of Campus Sustainability. Others do have straight to the point SDGs Center. So other practices, experimenting, trying out new approaches multi-stakeholder and integrated collaborations, finding out what works and what doesn't, connecting with new stakeholders and new networks, incubating partnerships, nurturing partnerships, being active in the networks that you are with, and then co-creating solutions through research, mobilizing resources, funding, by linking with other organizations, associations, and most of all, benchmarking on the implementation of successes and challenges. How are you doing with your lab? How are you doing with your center? So responding to the call then, with the SDGs in the 2030 agenda, so we have 1 to 17, first one on no poverty, and the last one, the partnership for the goals. The question now is, are you ready? Or have you been ready? Or are you willing to be ready and be one of the servant leaders of the Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center in your institution, in your local government units, in your national government, or in general, be part of the global coalition focusing on this particular concern? So an SDGs Learning Center, we need to look at the perspectives and the different levels. As I've mentioned, could be GNLII, and the approach could be top-down or bottom-up. So the GNLI perspectives and approaches have to be anchored on the definition of sustainability, the SDGs, given context and priorities. For example, for the university as an institution. So what are our context and our priorities? But
Kita,
perspectives with expressions of hope. Yes.
the time is up.
Yes,
Maybe you can...
just finish. Yeah. So the SDGs are more important now than ever. So now is the time. Now is the time to secure well-being of people, economies, societies, and the planet. So governments must deliver the transformational change our needs and the people demand. So basically, with the ALN, with the UNPAR and other universities, we have been doing it, academics, research, and community service. We can consider the ALN already as a learning center, and we can more or less benchmark with each other. So we have been doing, all universities are doing conferences all together and trying to focus on the SDGs. So even with the current setup, we are working on virtual activities. So the SBU SID program of the ALN, we usually go to the rural areas and try to look at what other possible related SDGs that we can. So on our academics and our research and community engagements, we usually have all our activities anchored on the SDGs. So let us work out our next steps for the SDGs Learning Center. The challenge is ours. So let us respond positively now to the global, national, local, institutional call, and individually be responsible global citizens and agents of 2030 and beyond. So my dear friends, I have my references here. So looking forward to a more sustainable and meaningful shared future. Terima kasih, salamat po, and thank you very much for having us with you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Tita. Thank you.
Thank you for your meaty presentation, Professor.
Thank you.
The last but not least, Mr. Taufik Mohammed. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my presentation.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Mbak May. The problem with the last speaker is the two distinguished speaker or professor is setting the kind of the benchmark. So it's the problem with the letters is creating the expectation. No? I hope that I can also fit with your expectation, as well as I'm also echoing what Professor Mangandar's disclaimer. I'm not the expert on the SDGs, but I'm working for the ILO on the skill development and trying to connecting some dots that I think is relevant. And then I'm trying to also share my not my own thinking. Basically, I'm trying to also summarize what kind of the discussion between the colleagues, as well as the taken from the institutional memory related with what is the SDG, why we have to address the SDGs, particularly when the ILO itself is, I think, have a mandate to cover 5 goals among the 17 goals that the ongoing achievement is trying to make globally, not only globally, but regionally, as well as perhaps locally, like what the, I think locally and regionally, what the University of Parahyangan is trying to do through the Learning Center. So I'm trying to just, treat this as a living document, and then trying to capture what is the reason why we have to address the issues on sustainable development goal, and why the sustainable development goal is relevant for us. Professor Mangandar already mentioned about the shifting from the Millennium Development Goals that's not really completed in terms of the achieving the goal itself in 2015. But since there is not really, there's still homework for us in terms of the achieving the goals. Even the goals is emerged from 8 to now is 17. So among the 5 goals is belong to the ILO, and ILO is basically is have a mandate to gardening the achievement of the goal. So, and then if you look at the statistic wise, some of the issues relevant why the ILO is engaged, and is all the important thing is basically from our point of view is that dealing with the creating the sustainable development goals with more inclusive, I think it's very important to see the issues on the labor and employment, because, and then I have been what they call it the decent work. So if you look at the fact now is almost 200 million people are unemployed globally. And then since the audience now is more is the young people, and among them, I think the biggest share of these people, the population, 71 million young people between 15 to 24, which is productive age is unemployed. In the context of Indonesia and other countries, perhaps in the developing countries, they experience what we call it the demographic dividend. So the failure to creating the sustainable job, like Professor Tita also mentioning that we need to not only creating the job, but have to be sustainable job, taking into account the environmental issues, but also the sustainability in terms of how that the next generation can benefit with the development. So, and then this is about the unemployed people. But look at the statistic: 780 million people working, but it's, they earn even below the $2 per day, meaning that about 30,000 rupiah in Indonesian currency. So it's kind of very sad, statistic. And if you look at in some of the developing countries, including perhaps some part of Indonesia, is people still actually living in the extreme and moderate poverty. Maybe not the extreme one, but it's not moderate poverty. But the 150 million. But it's not mentioned about the vulnerability. Those people who will, fall into poverty simply because there is not any access for the health insurance. And also the access for the decent job. And then if we look at the income inequality, this is something that perhaps is quite, well, we can see that the gap is quite huge among the richest and then the poorest. The 10% of the poorest, the 10% of the richest, which is cover 30 to 40% of the total income around the globe, And then if you look at the 10%, it's only 2 to 7%. So you can see that the inequality is very huge. That's why one of the very important goals in the Sustainable Development Goal is addressing the inequality. And then if we look at about the issues on the vulnerability, 70% of the people do not have any adequate social protection. It's not to mention about the gender inequality. Those women that still involved in informal workers and then even unpaid for their contribution to the GDP. So it's the fact is quite and now we actually experienced with the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, and if you look at the pandemic, it's also creating another kind of adverse impact related with the loss of working hours that equal almost like 100 million full-time jobs. Yes, there is the latest report that I read once I'm preparing this PowerPoint is there will be kind of early recovery. So that's why I think 26 million jobs, meaning there's decreasing from the job loss. If you're comparing with the loss of the working hours, because most of them is working at home or even now is comparing with the previous financial crisis. Some of the workers now there is no any option for the informal economy, for instance, because the informal economy as a safety net now is also experienced with the hardest hit by the COVID-19. And then so what we can see that and then this is the reason why, I mean, if you look at the dimensions of this of the devastated situation and condition, ILO is the only I think specialized UN agencies dealing with the labor issues as well as promoting the decent job or decent work. And then the most important thing is the participatory, not only for the government to the government like the UN agencies, but we also engage the support the social partner, the employers organization as well as the workers organization. So with if you look at what is the decent works, basically is something that the effort not only creating the job but have to be decent job, meaning that the job respected the workers' right. There is availability of the social protection. If people in the employment status, they can access for the, say for example, health insurance if they are sick, or if they got the accidents, can be covered by the injury scheme, something like that. And then, and most important thing is the inclusivity of the policy, the policy in terms of the labor policies, the employment policy need to be participatory, engage the all stakeholder concerned, like trade union as well as the employers organization itself. And then, so one of the goals, which is the decent work, is part of the very important goals from the ILO point of view. Is the central goal from the ILO point of view, but also central goals, the framework of the Sustainable Development Goal itself. And then the ILO is one of the 7 organizations in the G20. Now is Indonesia is leading in terms of the rotating leaderships in the G20s. And then the ILO is one of the other agencies like UN as well as the IMF, World Bank. Is part of the top 20 countries who have the biggest, the highest GDP, of GDP. That trying to ensure that all the policies in the global level, including those countries who basically is as a leading country in the economy, have to emphasize on the decent work creation as well as the social protection. And this is kind of the agreement among the leader, including also when they're implementing or achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And then, so the decent work is kind of the banner that translated into the fourth pillar, which is the workers' right, employment, social protection, as well as social dialogue, has to be translated into their own the ILO member states, which is Indonesia, one of those, including also Philippines. Is nowadays 187 member states under the ILO organization, and then they have almost like 96 offices. They have their own, also called the Decent Work Country program. So under this Decent Work Country program, we deliver some project. It's more than 600 projects funded by number of the donors, and we work over the 100 countries. That basically is trying to put the decent work agenda into action, into practice. How the decent work can be translated into the job creations, the policy, the labor policies, as well as also a number of interventions in improving the local economic development, for instance, in the rural area. So the ILOtics is really looking at the SDG as in line with the ILO, also called the mandate as well as the constitution itself. There's the goals has to be sustainable, including when we looking at the policies, intervention related to creating job, but also is almost looking at from the right-based approach that the work, the decent job, is kind of the right for for all. So any citizen in the respective country have to have access for job and social development that and also have to be in line with what's called the international labor standard. So every not every years, because sometimes we organize the International Labor Conference in Geneva every year, but not all the ILC is agreed to release kind of the convention that can be used as a reference for any labor law in a respecting country to be referred to. So the last, I think the last convention was released is in 1919 when the ILO celebrating the 100 years anniversary about the violence at the workplace, including also the sexual harassments. So it's kind of the international labor standard can be used as a reference in preparing or in articulating the right-based approach for any economic and social policy. And then the important thing also, there's a kind of the supervisory mechanism. If there is any kind of the violations about the law, particularly for the freedom of association and all the ILO convention that's ratified by the country, there's a mechanism to report to the governing body, and then it will be appear in the kind of the report, annual report that will be jeopardize the kind of the what's called it, the reputation of the country in implementing the labor and employment policies. So yeah, I think what we see that the decent work that embedded in the 2030 agenda is something that we need to pursue because this is not only more than job, it is the root of the social cohesion, can be used as kind of the platform to improve the working conditions and the living itself. And then so basically it's trying to make sure that the economic progress is hand in hand with the social progress, the social development. And then we also emphasize that we need to really put emphasize on the inclusive growth, which is the growth that created, but also creating not only job but also decent job, and then is inclusive for anyone, including the youth. So I think the idea about the decent work, which is from the ILO point of view is making sure that the individual and family can also contribute for the local economy. This why this growth can be created, and then also supporting the fiscal base that can be creating the public good for the people. So it's kind of the comprehensive perspective in terms of how that country needs to be developed in the future. And then the combination between the employment opportunity, right, and social protection, as well as social dialogue, is kind of the inline elaborated more in the one of the goal number 8 in what's it called sustainable development goals. So from this angle, we is inspiring for the island itself, which is translated into the country strategy, which is more than 180 member states is member of the ILO. First is the promoting the growth-based economic growth and also creation of the productive employment. But also making sure that the household can live up from the poverty if in those some developing countries, but also making sure that there is a labor market transition from school and trainings to job itself. But also can be used as what's it called the foundation that kind of a checking list whether the policies, intervention is inclusive as inclusive as possible, but also is sustainable in supporting the economic growth and development. And of course, the most important thing is creating the avenue for the social dialogue among the stakeholder concepts, including also the student. Say, for example, if the learning center of the SDGs can establish and can be contributed to the policy dialogue and debate. So I'm talking a little bit in Indonesia. So the Indonesia, the overarching idea of the vision work is translated into 3 things. First is the social dialogue to promote the business and the workers' welfare. So it basically is the balance between the economic growth but also the welfare. I think two speaker earlier mentioned it, and also the job creation, particularly for the youth. In the context of we experience with the demographic dividend. So the demographic bonus can be converted into demographic disaster if we fail to creating the job to absorb the new entrance of the people from in the job market, for instance. But I know for the vulnerable group.
Taufik, sorry,
okay.
We have 1 minute to go.
1 minute, okay. So I will be very quick. So I think this is what the question is how we deal with this. So we have the inequality, your employment, as well as the law of Indonesian capital, human capital index. So I'm trying to actually address some of those with the policy that creating more job, but the job need to be responsive to the demand, because this is kind of the skill match is happening, and then also to see the digitalization, the digital learning. It could be also opening access for and addressing the inequality for access for the quality education and training. And the last is trying to link it between the skill development to what's called more on the active labor market policy, again on the rapid based approach. So I'll trying to basically maybe I'll just keep it, but I will share with you. So the important thing for me is perhaps there is this one because this is one of the questions that asked. So we think that the decent work that will be platform to create the inclusive and sustainable economic growth with the productive and but there is another kind of there is another 2 or 3 or 4 I put it here 4 that related to the goals which is need to be also enforced as well as the pursue along with the vision work, because by having this we have addressing the gender inequalities, the climate change. We need to also create the job, the green job, and then we using the partnership, all the stakeholder concerned, including also the universities. But at the end of the ultimate goal is actually addressing the poverty in the early. So with the first, I think most important, but I think the vision work can be impacted goals that I mentioned earlier. So what step? I think it's very important. We have to working on the policies and creating the mechanism and enabling environment, but also the capacity building. I think part of this capacity building what the University of Parahyangan now is done, but also documenting the lesson learned and advocating, because like Professor Tita mentioned that we cannot do ourselves if not us who, and then if not now, when. So basically, this is the my closing remarks. It's not my word, but it's what the Philadelphia Declaration when the ILO was established. Because very important we engage in this sustainable development goals and also involved in the advocating these issues, because the poverty everywhere is the threat for the prosperity everywhere. So that's why poverty has an impact on the global stability, and I think this is something that we need to trace by any policymaker, including you as a future policymakers in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful discussion, Mr. Taufik Muhammad. Shall we send an online applause for the speakers? You can use the reaction button below your windows. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have heard our 3 distinguished speakers sharing their ideas. Now, maybe it's time for the talk show. Mr. Taufik, maybe you can take down the presentation. Thank you. Okay. Let's start the talk show. Professor Tita, talking about priority. Which one do you think one of the goals, 7 goals that you think should be achieved first, especially in academic institutions like Sanbeda and UNPAR?
Thank you very much for that very, very important question focused on an educational institution. Being an educational institution and looking at the SDGs in totality and the call for us to act, I am seeing goal number 4 as the number 1 priority to look at. In particular, in terms of being a learning center, sharing what we know about the SDGs in particular, sharing to the community, sharing through our researches, and sharing through our academic programs. So quality education, because what will happen if we're going to prioritize, of course, well, climate action is very important, but without the awareness of its importance through education, we will lose our planet. So I think first priority is to educate the people to collaborate and take part in the action. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pak Mangadar, maybe some additional thoughts?
Thank you very much. Yeah, probably just to add the point made already by Prof. Tita about the education, the importance of education as our priority.
Yes.
But we think also the possibility that our higher education institution is also a workplace. Yeah. There are a number of people, let's say at UNPAR, we have more than thousands staff, academic and administrative. We have 10,000 and more students joining us at the university. So this is also, apart from being, let's say, a place for us to learn together, to study, but also to work. So I saw the point about, let's say, gender equity or equality. Also another part of, let's say, a very real practice, yeah, of being, let's say, in line with the SDGs. So once we already in the point of, let's say, giving, let's say, fair treatment to the whole part of the university students, whether they are girls or boys, and the staff, yeah, women and men, yeah, I thought we have already been in that kind of, let's say, sustainability or sustainable development goals. And it is in line with the point already discussed, very interesting by Pak Taufik, yeah, that university should be a place for kind of, let's say, decent work, yeah. And as we already known recently, we talk about, yeah, about sexual violence at education, yeah. Ibu Tita, it is now in Indonesia kind of, let's say, buzzed or a very hot topics in Indonesia, yeah, because the kind of, let's say, sexual harassment, sexual violence in education institution, yeah. So when we look at these kind of cases, I thought we have to do more in terms of gender equality. And also another point I thought that we are able to do is in terms of the point of responsible consumption and production. Yeah. So this is also another issue that our city in Bandung, yeah, is one of the city that produce a lot of food waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Indonesia also one of the country that produce food waste very much. So I thought our universities are also probably being responsible in that kind of things as priority to be doable, workable. Yeah, thank you, Mel. That's my personal sharing.
Thank you. Okay. What about you, Pak Taufik? Any opinion?
Thanks. Thanks. It's very interesting. I think if I'm not really, if I'm not mistaken, the question is related to the rules of the university.
Yes.
Okay.
The
priority, yeah, right. Of course, the priority. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, that for us, the ILO is looking at the business, but the university perhaps is more close to the education as a kind of what's to call it, the quality education, because this is proof that when entering the labor market, the minimum education, quality education is also setting the future of career development, as well as the quality, how that the people can access the better job. But of course, the initiative that you made through this kind of the learning center, I also found that it's not only the theoretical framework, but we need to perhaps more like learning by doing. So it's the forum can, propose more like how that the SDG put into action. Of course, when what is come first is the chicken and egg problem. No? Say for example, to get the good education, the family have to have or at least parent or have to have a good job. Similarly, that perhaps another inequality also can creating the barrier for those people to enter the education, the quality education. So, but for me, it's not important what is one at first, but for a university, perhaps how to make it sure that the applicable, trainings as well as education could be used, including also how to reach out the community by doing the concrete things, applying what we learn from the discourse in the class. Will make a difference, and then it's contributing a lot for the accelerating the SDG goals to be achieved in our time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taufik. Maybe Professor Tita, do you have any view about the condition in your country, that what are the most challenging SDGs issue? Maybe you can unmute your mic.
Yes, sorry. So, well, there are many challenges as being experienced by the different countries.
Yes.
But from my end, especially in the urban centers, definitely there is this need to address poverty.
Okay.
There is a need to address poverty. You would be teary-eyed looking at the sidewalks, looking at the streets. Sometimes you would see people trying to be begging. When I was there in Bandung years ago, I also noted a few of those who are on the streets. So usually when I go to different parts of the world, when I do travel, that's one of the major concerns that I look at. I would see, are there people in poverty, homeless, no health care, and looking for their own future without really the possibilities of being assisted. So number one for me is the poverty, and everybody's working on it. NGOs, academic institutions. So we are into it with the government policies and assistance.
Yeah, thank you, Prof. Tita. Mr. Taufik, do you have any view about the condition maybe in one of the country that you have experience with? Maybe Bangladesh or Bangkok?
Thanks for that. I think Bangladesh is quite interesting. In also experience with other number of developing countries when they're trying to put the industrial strategy by utilizing what support the globalization, the global supply chain, that creating job, but it's not necessarily is translating into improving the working condition. Simply, when I mentioned about the vision road, they may actually create a new job. Say, for example, in the garment sector, in the art and ready-made garment, they create is producing like 80% of the GDP exporting area. It's huge employment, more than 4 million workers, and most of them are women. It's kind of the silent revolution because the women in the rural area come to the urban area. But the problem is they're living, it's not really much in terms of improving the workers' condition simply because there's no rest. There is kind of the issues about the workers' right, the people not really enjoying about the freedom of association to organize the union, for instance. That's why when they push to work in the unsafe environment, they not really say no, and there's no representation of the workers. And then they make some, the toll debt like more than, I think, 1,000 just, in a matter of the second. So it's very important to have the, comprehensive policy, I guess, because problem with number of the developing countries, there is an issues about the policy gap, But when the policy also in place, there's some issues about the implementation gap. So it's important to first we analyze first which the gap is and trying to focus on how to narrowing the gap. Put some budget or investment, for instance, like the taxation. Focus on education, I think one of the important thing, socio-security as well, because and also skill and education. For me, is the very driver to ensure that people can get a decent job, because having this, as I mentioned earlier, they can contribute to the taxation system, creating more the public goods, improving life for the people. We have to start from somewhere, but need to more comprehensive and integrated. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Taufik. Okay, Pak Mangadar, how about Indonesia?
So we choose 1 out of 17 goals. It is not fair. It is, yeah, it is very, very hard, yeah, just to come into 1 or 2, let's say, goals, yeah. We do see that the whole goals are really very important and also to some extent also have the kind of urgency, yeah. But for, let's say, discussion interest, probably I rather want to see that the problem most challenging in Indonesia is about inequality. Yeah, the inequality. I thought it is goal number 10, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and this is rightly demonstrate the kind of, let's say, poverty and hunger we are dealing with. Yeah, because people have no fair access, yeah, to food or to any kind of, let's say, economic or work job, yeah, because of, and also it is not just about economic, but it is also to some extent, we call it some kind of, let's say, cultural and structural, limits or restriction. And also when you talk about, let's say, gender bias, yeah, or even when you talk about minority and majority, people living in the urban or rural area and so on, yeah. So we witness the kind of, let's say, inequality, yeah, to have, let's say, access and also resources to live in a better life. So probably the most challenging work now is how to manage this kind of, let's say, as we call it, the governance or the framework, yeah, tata kelola we call it. So we may be more inclusive, yeah, open, yeah, to all elements of the society in terms of having access and having resources, yeah. So the issue of inequality, yeah, I thought is the first one to be handled, yeah, very well, yeah, for us, not only to have economic life better, but also to have justice and peace, yeah. This is also the very basic one, yeah. Yeah, talking about this, maybe also we forget about the environment, but that's the point, yeah. We need also, yeah, again, we claim that it is our own home, yeah, it is our common home, yeah, we live in the same earth or the same planet, yeah, so we have to look after also our home, yeah. So a bit hard, Mel and friends, yeah, just to choose one, yeah.
Okay. Okay, maybe for the last question, what would you or the speakers here say to all the students here preparing their role being the agent of 2030? Maybe ladies first, Professor Tita.
Okay, then, to all the students, this is something from a mother, from the older generation to the younger ones. Something like what we're having today. And usually we would hear this from our older folks, that we should care for the future. It is your future. But looking forward, it is not only your future, but the future of others. So we need to have a mindset. We need to have the mind, we have to have the heart, and we have to have the hands to respond to this call. And if I may situate it, to be really agents of change. We might know things about it in our minds, but in our hearts, are we responding positively to care not only for yourself, but for others as well, particularly our planet, our only home, the only one we can have. And giving that from the mind to the heart, to our hands, is giving service, in particular in terms of volunteerism, wherever you are. It could be at home, it could be in your neighborhood, it could be in your community, in your university, and moving up. So please respond positively and put it in your heart to really be a very caring, responsible, global citizen of the world. So that's my message to everybody. From your mother, from San Pedro.
Thank you, Mother.
Yeah.
So, how about you, Pak Taufik?
Okay, thanks, my dear friends, student. I think it's, I just echoing what Professor Tita mentioned, that as a global citizen, we have to responsible for the future, and I think the future is today for you, and you are the future of for us as well, because it's still a long way to go, but don't, I think try your best. I think learn more and also act more, but the important thing is act now. Think big, act now, and it's I think don't. I think it's try something best. It's not necessarily success in the first place, but I think it's very important. You have to try, and then but learn more, and then you. I think as the professor earlier mentioned, that activism is very important for you, because you can make a change, and you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and some additional message from our beloved rector, maybe?
Yeah, I thank you very much to Prof. Tita and Prof. Pak Taufik, yeah, for the points already mentioned about the students' role and responsibility. I just want to add about the friendship, collaboration, partnership. Yeah, we live in the world is not as alone. It's not alone. Yeah, we have a lot of friends, siblings, relatives everywhere across the world. Yeah, and we have already started. Not only start, but also we try to nurture our friendship like this one. Students from UNPAR and San Beda universities, yeah, and other ILN members, and also to such kind of, let's say, organization or institution like Pak Taufik from ILO. So for the SDGs, yeah, to be, let's say, effectively or significantly impactful, partnership, collaboration, also is the key. So my message to my dear students, yeah, please, yeah, make a lot of friends, yeah, develop a kind of, let's say, fruitful network, yeah, collaboration, yeah, with other students from other universities, from other countries, yeah, and SDGs is another point for us to highlight that things that already actually to some extent we have it through our family life, cultural, social life, yeah, and also in terms of, let's say, our religious life, yeah. We are advised to be looking after each other, to be caring each other, yeah, to take look after also our Earth, our planet, yeah, and again, yeah, through these SDGs, we are encouraged, yeah, we are invited to work more in a collaborative, yeah, partnership, yeah, spirit, as I mentioned, yeah. So please, friends, dear friends, yeah, make a lot of friends, yeah, make a lot of brothers and sisters across the world, yeah. You live in one planet only, we live in one home only. So this is our home. We are responsible for the good living of everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Mangadat. Now, I believe that all the speakers are ready to the question and answer session. So, Asmi, can you read the first question for us? I cannot see the question here.
There's no question for right now, so please, if you have any questions, please just type in the chat column.
So, participants, please raise your hand to so the organization committee can open your mic. Is there any?
Yeah, come on, students. It is your own, it is your forum, it is your, yeah.
Yeah.
From Sanbeda or from student from Unpar or other universities. No need to think about Christmas yet, yeah. Still to, yeah.
Long way to go.
Yeah,
for Christmas.
2 weeks, yeah. Almost, yeah. Almost 2 weeks ago. Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
It's already at the corner. Yeah.
Is there any?
There's Jidan. I think Jidan.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, see that.
Yeah, before I ask a question, thank you very much for all of the speaker. And I apologize, I'm not able to turn on my camera, so I just speaking in here.
That's okay.
So my question is, I think this is a very basic questions because there is a lot of priority that we should do as students to change the world, probably I would say. So how should we start to do a change at this case? Where should we start? That's my question, because there's a lot of things that we should do, but well, where should we start? Because we have a lot of things to do, so I think there is an easiest way to start this. So how do you think about that? That is my question. Thank you.
So the question is for.
Yeah, I saw Professor Tita already make a good advice in her presentation. Yeah.
Okay.
Please,
Yeah,
Prof.
probably.
Tita.
Yeah, probably you can summarize the questions because there is a lot of things that you already said.
Yeah, Prof. Tita. So, yeah.
I'm very sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, then, very interesting question. So something like, what should be the next step, especially for a student? So the question is, can I be an agent of change for 2030 as an individual? Where do I start? You can start within, and you can ask yourself, from among the many challenges, where would I want? I'm sending back the question. Where would I want to start off? What
Okay.
is my priority? Is it within my family? Or is it within my peers? Or is it within the university? When I was still a student, going back to the grade school, I started to really get interested with working with the indigenous peoples in southern Mindanao. And so when I went up to high school, college, and then graduate school, and even now when I'm with San Beda, I'm into volunteerism, trying to take part in continuing my steps to be volunteer in helping communities. So that's why I'm also with the ALN. So decide on what are your priorities. Ask your heart based on what you have learned, and then do it to start off.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe some additional thought, Mr. Taufik?
Okay, it's very interesting. But I appreciate what your question because it's like showing your commitment to change the world. Like I remember the Rumi, one of philosopher, basically is Sufis, saying that yesterday I was clever, so I would change the world. But now I'm wise. I'm changing myself. I'm changing myself. So I think it's something like what Professor Tita mentioned, but also is echoing what Mangandar mentioned earlier. That ask yourself, no, what's your passion? Because you have to do something from your heart, and then of course you need kind of equipped by the knowledge and skill. So that's why it's very important that you learn more about what you unlearn and learn. It's very important to also learn something new. But creating the network, I'm remember that I'm starting with when my study in Bandung, but not in Unpar. I'm active in kind of the student senate, and organizing seminar, preparing the proposal. And surprisingly, what I have done now in the island is the same thing. I mean, but it's kind of and I creating the network with all the people of beyond, university, all the policymakers that is a teacher investment for the teacher. But starting from small, and starting small, follow your heart and looking at your patient. If you look at the environmental issues, you can make some connection or network with the environmentalists, for instance. If you want to know about the working with the informal workers, trying to liaise with the NGOs. But I think knowledge skill is very important. But also is by doing it, you actually expanding your skill, your ability to negotiate. Soft skill is very important now rather than the technical thing. How to think critically, but also working with the team. I mean, you need you cannot solve your problem by yourself, but you need to make some allies like Professor Mangandar mentioned earlier, and then and start small, but act now. I mean, we never know, that the time is very limited.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Pak Taufik. The time is running out. We still have one question to answer, but I'm afraid that we don't have time to discuss the question. I'm sorry for that, Natania. It is very interesting to discuss what should we do for better future, right? We should have a concerted movement to achieve SDGs in the next 9 years. Sustainable life, sustainable people, sustainable planet. What we need to prepare for the future, there are many ways to involve in SDGs movement individually as well as institutionally. The important question for all of us from Professor Tita is, are you ready to become a servant leader of SDGs? So we should start now, from now on, from ourselves, ask your heart, ask ourselves. Okay, so all right, that's gonna be my closure. I thank you very much for Dr. Mangadar Situmorang, Professor Tita Evasco Branzuela, and Mr. Taufik Muhammad for your profound ideas and explanations in the question and answers. Okay, let's give our warm online applause to all the speakers.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you, Pak
Thank
Taufik.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Prof. Tita. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, May. Mbak May.
So I should give some appreciation for all the speakers.
Thank you.
Okay, Professor Pak Mangadar Situmorang, please accept our gratitude.
Thank you.
Certificate of appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to cut. I'm Raul from the documentation team to capture this activity. Let's
Yes. Yes, please.
the speakers and moderator for the certificate handover. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the first certificate, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. So the next one is for Professor Tita. Professor, thank you for our friendship. Thank you for your thoughtful inspiration for our student.
For the second certificate, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor. So the last but not least, Mr. Taufik Muhammad.
Thank you so much.
Please accept our gratitude certificate of appreciation from us.
Okay, for the certificate, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. So that's all. Thank you very much. I have to give back the forum to the MC. Who is the MC for now? All right, ask me. I have to give it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Brigita Melianti, Dr. Mangadar Situmorang, Professor Dr. Tita Evasco Branzuela, and Mr. Taufik Muhammad for this amazing discussion. But before we end, we would like to invite all of our amazing participants to turn on the camera and give your best smile because we are taking a photo with our moderator and speakers. So please, documentation, you may take the lead.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Aldi from team documentation. Right now is photo session. So everyone be prepared because I'm going to start from slide 1. Okay, for slide 1 is 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Next slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay, for next slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay, now for last slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Photo session has done. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Very
much
much.
for having us, having me in particular.
Thank you, Prof. Tita. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Professor Tita.
Hope to see you there in Bandung.
Yeah, also in Manila, of course.
Yes, of course.
Let's go to Manila.
With our students. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asmi, want to go to Manila?
Yes, of course, if I have the chance to.
Yes, you are most
course.
welcome.
You can join SIT.
Yes.
Yeah, SIT program. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Of course.
So, yeah, very happy Christmas. Yeah.
Yes.
You too. Pamangada.
So take care, everybody. Merry Christmas. Have you done
Merry
your
Christmas.
shopping yet?
Not yet.
Thank you,
sister.
So think of the SDGs when you're going shopping.
Oh,
Sure.
okay.
Yeah.
Last reminder.
Thank you.
Okay. So then.
So thank you, documentation. Well, that was quick. It seems this session is finished, isn't it, Asmi?
Yes, I wish it was longer because we learned so many things about the SDGs together. And thank you all so much for your cooperation. The end of the photo sessions also shows that the webinar towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center of Manifesto 2021 will end soon. For all the participants, don't forget to fill our evaluation form in the chat box as a confirmation of your participations. Once again, don't forget to fill our evaluation form in the chat box as a confirmation of your participation and for certificate purpose. It has been our pleasure as the Master of Ceremony of the Towards 2030 Sustainable Development Goals Learning Center webinar Manifesto 2021. For our next agenda, we will continue it on the website, so please stand by and don't forget to watch the next session through our website on www.manifesto.online. Once again, don't forget to watch our next sessions through the website on the www.manifesto.online. We would like to apologize for any and all mistakes we have made. Thank you so much for coming. Keep moving.
Keep acting.
Keep inspiring. Goodbye. See you on the next
Goodbye.
episode.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Prof. Tita. Thank you, Pak Taufik. Thank you, Pak Mangadar.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Fernando.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
from Manila.
Stay healthy ya, semua baik-baik ya,
Yes.
sehat.
Same
Thank
to
you.
everyone.